Yeah. Okay. So I don't know about everyone in this group, but I'm certain that we have a variety of people, some who really prefer paper, pencil, you want to write things down, some who really prefer technology. And the thing is, you can have the best of both worlds. And tonight, we are going to talk specifically about how you can utilize technology, a very free tool in technology to organize some of the things that you're doing as you're building trust. Like if I'm putting in a marble in the jar, but I also want to document that, there are some tools you can use in addition to or other than pen and paper. So we are like super excited. And I'm going to tell you right now, there is so much that's available to you that there's no way we can fit it all in just this one sitting. So we're going to give you like some high ticket tools to use that should be very beneficial that you can play around with, and you just may happen upon some other things. And we are also happy to help if you want to reach out to us and ask about other ways to use some of the tools that we are going to share about tonight.
Yeah. So one of the biggest questions that we get like just everywhere all the time is how do I track my coaching? And that question it doesn't always happen at the beginning of the year, because mid-year you start figuring out you need to start keeping track of this thing. And then January, like all year long, it's this question of how do I get myself organized? Yep. And how do I track what I'm doing? And so, and especially when we're saying, hey, this is a really organic thing. It's something that happens in the hallways. Like it's something that's happening casually. It doesn't feel like something you should track. But one of our hashtags here in the group is that every conversation counts. And we really, 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 really believe that. I want you to really lean into that, and that every conversation that you have with the teacher counts towards coaching. Is it always a coaching conversation? Not necessarily. But you are the coach, and you have the ability to kind of make every conversation a coaching conversation just by listening more and asking more questions. You shift the conversation to be a coaching conversation. And so every marble in the jar, every conversation is worth the trust that you're earning to open the doors to deeper levels of coaching. So wait, let's see some of these comments and we'll kind of get into how to track. So Sarah says, I took a few minutes, just walk the hallways. I popped my head in teachers' doors to see if there's anything I can do. It definitely helped me get a few marbles in the jar. That is awesome, Sarah. Putting into practice listening more than talking, asking open-ended questions as teachers help me move my room and organize my office. Put thank you notes in mailboxes. Oh my goodness, you are on it, Tina. Stephanie said, I wrote to a veteran science teacher about a pre-assessment, or I spoke to her and learned it was not something he had used before. I offered to meet with him and help him build one so that he didn't feel stressed. Okay, good. Well, I hope he takes you up on that. That is awesome. So the idea of tracking, one of the things that is kind of where Casey and I wanted to go with this sharing with you is that it is organic, but it's also kind of organic to you. Like you've got to figure out what is your thing. I know a lot of people say like, what planner do you use? And where do I start with my planner? And like, there are some great planners out there, but it really has to be like a system that you are creating that makes sense to you. And then the other thing about it that's helpful is if you need to share it with an administrator somehow, some of the things that you're doing, that you have a systematic way to be able to get some of that information and share it in a confidential way so that you're not kind of sharing everything, but you're sharing who you've been meeting with, what kind of touch points you've been having, and that kind of work. So what we have found is there are some great tools out there. I don't know if Sam Shields was able to show up tonight, but she said she would try and be here and drop her resource that she has called Your Coach's Corner. So there are some great online programs that are intentionally built for tracking coaching. But Casey and I have found that free Google tools are going to like blow your mind at what they got. So we want to show you some of those tools, some of those really like you probably already use them, but maybe you don't know this trick kind of tools. So Casey has set up for you I'm going to walk you through some steps of these different tools that you may or may not know about and how you can use them in coaching. And we want to just give you a little tour of the Google tools and see where that goes. So last week we did talk about designing an ideal week, and I'm going to show you, I'm going to put this up. This is where you're going to find resources from these sessions. So the resources for the ideal week template, my sample template, and some information about what an ideal week is, that is on this Padlet. And then everything we share tonight will be on this Padlet. There's not like a workbook for this session. So instead, go to the Padlet is where you'll find all the stuff. So as we share these things tonight, we'll be linking them onto the Padlet so that you can go back and access. So we talked a lot about calendar and coming up with an ideal week calendar. So Casey, what do you have for us to be thinking about calendar and tasks and those things? Share some things.
Okay. So I'm about to share my screen and I'm going to share some of those things, but I want to know in the comments if you are a Google girl or a note, like a pen and paper. What would be like pen? I can't come up with anything cutesy for that, but
you come up with a fun hashtag of which one you are, because you might be a Google guy. So Google guy, Google girl.
Yeah. So give us a hashtag to let us know, like, are you Google or are you paper pencil? Let us know about that. And I will tell you, and I'm seeing people already saying like a little bit of both. And I totally get that.
They answered that one quick.
Yeah, totally get that. So I'm seeing a lot of Google, which was really exciting. But the thing is, even with the tools that I share with you, you can use your paper pencil. And I'm not suggesting that you do like double the work and do, you know, paper pencil and Google, but the two can go hand in hand. You know, like I have a little notebook. Yeah, I have my phone that has all my Google tools, but I also have a little notebook that I carry with me just to quickly jot things down if I can't get it in my phone. So are you ready? Hashtag ready.
Hashtag ready.
Hashtag ready. Here we go.
Okay. Move this banner.
So I'm going to share my screen and you are going to see my calendar. Now, this is completely a pretend calendar. It is not real. Right? So this pretend, can you see it?
Now I can see it.
Okay. This pretend calendar I have created specifically for this session. And Allison, I can't really see the comments because I'm moving it out of my screen.
Okay. So you're fine. I'll keep an eye on the comments.
So,
they're ready, by the way. They're ready. They said I put appointments in my Google Calendar, then on my phone and my planner. Overdone. It makes me feel more organized.
Hey, if it makes you feel more organized, all the better. Okay.
Yes.
So I'm going to walk you through some features of the Google Calendar, but I'm also going to, with that, show you some things on the side of the Google Calendar that are going to be really, really handy dandy. Okay. So
yeah, let me just also say this comment says that my district is Office 365. Now, you can have some of these tools over in Office, but if you just have like a Gmail account, like free Gmail, you don't have to have a school issued Google account. So feel free to go build your own free Gmail account to get access to all of these tools.
Yeah. And you're right. So much of Office 365 can emulate what we're doing with Google. So you just have to find the features that are similar. So here is my Google Calendar. Now, I know that one of the questions that people have asked is like, what does a day-to-day schedule look like? And for me, it varies every single day because I'm on 2 different campuses and my office is not even on either of those campuses. So I think in the beginning, when I first started coaching at this new district, I had more of a strict schedule because I was just getting to know what their routines were. So I would spend like 2 days on one campus, 2 days on another campus, and 1 day like designated to my office. But now it's extremely different. And I think as the year goes on, it becomes even more flexible because you have to go by the teacher's schedule and you have to go by the administrator's schedule. So you'll notice that I have my calendar color coded. Okay. So I want to start there, but I want to shift your attention from the calendar piece, to what is on the right sidebar. And tonight, I'm going to take you through 2 pieces of this sidebar. And then we're going to talk specifically about Google Calendar. And then we're going to talk specifically about Google Docs, which is what I'm probably most excited about. And you will notice Allison reining me in a little bit sometimes because I get way excited about this and can go on these crazy tangents and lose myself in it. So she's going to hold me accountable. Okay.
I'll try my best.
All
One of
right.
the things that new coaches struggle with too is like you've always been a teacher and you've been given your schedule.
Yes.
And so you knew exactly minute by minute where you had to be every day.
Yeah.
And so when you transition over to this blank nothing and you're not sure what to do with your time and no one is telling you, you really have to find you really have to do this work to get into your calendar and find these spots and figure out what your time's going to look like and what your rhythm is going to be, because no one's going to give you a schedule anymore. And that feels a little, it feels a little just like you immediately feel lost in it. So just know that if you're having that emotion of feeling lost in a blank calendar, start thinking about some of these tools to get yourself organized. And I don't know if you used Google Calendar as a teacher. Like, did you set up appointments? Some of these tools you may not have had to use as a teacher. And now you're going to learn them because Casey's here to teach you. So go, girl.
That's right. Okay. And just so you know, we will have a graphic for you to use after all is said and done that gives you all of the different ideas for how to use these different features. So we're going to dig in and talk about Google Keep and Google Tasks. Okay, those are the first two that I want to point your attention to. Now, let me tell you the difference between Keep and Tasks. There's not really a huge difference. Keep is really for all of your notes, ideas. You can collaborate with people there. Tasks is more like your to-do list, and it integrates really seamlessly with your calendar. So I want to talk you through what you can do with Google Keep. Okay, so the first thing that you can do with Google Keep, and let me just show you that you can show all of these options, like you can view them alongside your calendar, which is awesome because I'm going to look through all of these little notes that I've taken and see, is there any way that I need to adjust my calendar based on the notes that I've taken? Okay. So I'm going to fully open up notes right here in this where it says new tab. And I'm going to actually have to show that, right, Allison?
Yeah, maybe.
Okay, it's fine.
So, and all of these tools, while she's getting that set up, all of these tools, and I know you know this because you already told us you're a Google girl, but they work so beautifully on your phone. So once you set them up on your computer, then they become like right here all the time with you. And so Google Keep is one of my favorites for note taking and for walking away from that organic conversation that I just had. I just pull up my Google Keep. I make a note about what we talked about, and then I hashtag the teacher's name. And that's how she gets labeled, is just hashtag that teacher's name. And I can go back and see every time I've talked to her or whatever I was talking to her about. So these tools become very mobile and on the go once you set them up. So I use Google Keep to track a lot of those organic conversations. And then for Google Calendar, I will go in and I will actually retroactively add a meeting that I had with a teacher that was like an on the fly meeting. So like the one that I have in the hallway where all of a sudden we're talking about what curriculum choice she wants to make, about which book she wants to teach next year. Like that actually was a coaching conversation. It just happened in the hallway. So I'll go back to my computer or my phone and just retroactively put in there, like I met with this teacher from 20 minutes from this time to this time. And so those different ways of being mobile and tracking my conversations, that's something that I'm really using often.
Yes.
Okay, let me add this up here so now they're ready. Okay, so this is what Google Keep looks like. If you haven't used it, it's keep.google.com to find it. And it's great.
It is so awesome. So I want to share with you. And again, this is completely like pretend because I can't share my, my own things with my teachers. So this is completely pretend things, but I crafted it in a way that it would relate hopefully very well to what you are going to be doing on a day-to-day basis. So let's say that you have ideas for PD topics. You want to keep them in one location. Google Keep is a great place for that. So you just title it whatever you want, PD topics, and this can be an ongoing list. And so if I click on that, I could, in regard to what Allison was saying about the hashtag, you can hashtag anything to create a label. So maybe I wanted to create a hashtag that wasn't a teacher name, but instead a topic, like
small group instruction or
small
something.
group instruction. Exactly. So I'm just going to highlight this. I'm going to put hashtag small group. Does it do like, can I do spaces or no?
No, I think you have to keep them together since it's a hashtag.
Small group instruction. So I'm going to create a small group instruction tab or list, and it comes up over here. So there's a label for small group instruction. So every time I think about a PD topic that has to do with small group instruction, I'm going to hashtag it, and then I'm going to be able to pull up those notes that are specific to small group instruction. So you can keep it as a place to store your PD topic ideas. You can use it as a content holder. I like to use it as a content holder when I go to professional development sessions or I'm doing some online training for myself, and I will take screenshots of some different things that are happening in a webinar or some things that are happening in a PD session, and I hold all of my notes and images here because you can add images. All you have to do is click add image, and you can upload an image from your computer, but you also can copy and paste into this note. You also can drag from another source into this. You can also include links. And here's what's even more cool. You can change the background options. And that might not mean a whole lot to a lot of people, but I like to personalize my things because then it brings meaning to me, and it also brings a little bit of joy, you know? So I like to do that as well. Now you can,
with this one too, like if you have a meeting with a teacher and you handwrite the notes. So you did it in your notebook or on a notebook or somewhere. Sometimes I'll do that. I prefer to handwrite notes when I'm with the teacher, but I don't want to know. I don't remember where I put that, or it's in my notebook 50 pages back. Like, and so sometimes I'll snap the picture and put it into the keep and tag the teacher's name. And so then I've got that notes with that teacher. So I also do that to kind of track my, my conversations with teachers, like in a meeting.
Okay. So let's talk about that a little bit. So you can hold it as you can have it as a content holder. And I'm going to show you in a little bit some other things you can do with these icons at the bottom. But here's one that I mean, this is something that I actually do on a regular basis, is just note conversations with teachers. And the way that I've titled it this year is Notice and Note, because it's not always a conversation I'm having. It's just something that I've heard or something that I'm noticing that I want to note about the people that I'm working with. So you'll notice I have jotted like Sally Sue had a death in the family last week. That's important to consider as you are having coaching conversations or just day-to-day passing by conversations. Jane Doe was more vocal than usual during planning today. Man, I want to capitalize on that. John Doe mentioned rearranging his classroom to get his students like more engaged or whatever. Capitalize on it. Jill John just put her house on the market. So if I am logging all of these little bitty conversations that are happening throughout the week, on Friday, what I'm going to do is go through this list and begin to build next week's calendar.
So make it practical.
Yes, absolutely. I'm thinking, okay, these are the conversations that I had. These are the things that I noticed and noted. So how am I going to utilize this information next week and build a practical calendar that is also really intentional?
And relationship focused, right? Like knowing that you're going to go follow up with these, because all of these little things have an opportunity to turn into a coaching cycle. Like it's not, we're still relationship building. We're still early in the process. But if somebody asked you about rearranging his classroom to get his students more engaged, that could be an opportunity for you to get yourself into a coaching cycle about engagement for the teacher. So your opportunities for follow-up are so powerful here.
Yes.
Somebody says, do you keep a conversations note just for 1 week? Or how do you keep those notes? You just kind of, as you go?
Yeah. So like if I go to this and I have, like Sally Sue, I want to keep Sally Sue's death in the family like a priority, just to kind of think about that. So I'm going to keep that up here. But if some of the other things I have gotten to and I'm ready to check them off, I check them off so that that's not taking up, capacity in my brain for meeting with teachers in the future.
Yeah, no, that's a good thought. Checking them off, keeping a note for the week is an option, but also just writing a new note and hashtagging it where the teacher is just helpful because then you can go over to the left and just go click on Sally Sue and see all of your notes for her.
Yes.
So,
yeah,
so those will start to naturally happen. Okay, so show us how that works in going to your calendar.
Okay. So let me show you first, like this, you were mentioning hashtagging Jill.
Mm-hmm.
So let's say I took some notes of, from our coaching conversation. I'm just going to put like today's date, which is the 8th. And today we talked about,
she says, if you check it off, does it stay in the label folder? It still does. Like the whole note goes into the folder.
You have to delete those to get them completely off. If you check it off, it just crosses it out and moves it down to the bottom. So let's say we co-taught lesson on fractions. Okay. So here's what's really cool about this. Let's say you have these ongoing notes. You did this for Jill on 8/8/22, and you want to move that to a Google Doc that is completely focused on Jill, and keep that documentation there. You can copy it to a Google Doc, and it will generate a Google Doc for you to house that information.
Yes, I love how these tools are interconnected. You can push things from one to the other. So cool.
Yes.
Wait till she shows you how to do a draft of an email. That one blew my mind.
It's my favorite. I can't wait. Okay. So then let's say you are looking at your notes and you're like, oh my gosh, how am I going to find what I've done with Jill? Well, guess what? We've created a hashtag with Jill. So we're going to look for Jill, and guess what? Everything that is hashtag with Jill pops up. So you have everything that you have done with this person, or small group instruction, that's going to pop up, or Sally Sue. So that is just like, those are just a few ways that you can use Google Keep for like your note taking. If you are thinking, yes, I would love to use Google Keep, or you're already using it, put a hashtag Google Keep in the comments so we can see that you're using that. So
Rachel asked if you can copy it to an existing doc. I'm not sure you can. I think it's going to start a new one.
It will only start a new one.
Yeah.
So that's kind of a bummer, but Google is always evolving. So all you have to do is suggest that, and they will try to make it possible.
Just magic happens. Okay. So then you take this idea and you go to your Google Calendar and you start thinking about how you're going to put these touch points on your calendar for the week.
So I'm going to stop sharing this screen so I can share another. So if there are other questions or comments you want to read out, feel free to do that. Okay.
One is actually, is Google Keep directly part of Google Calendar? So she was showing you before, and she'll show you again, that when you're in the icons over on the right to view the Google Keep. So it's not like embedded, but you can see it on the side, kind of like almost split screen, but within Google Calendar.
Yes.
So you can kind of keep them top of mind right there while you're planning for the following week.
Yes.
This is new to me. I can't wait to use this. Somebody also said try Wakelet is awesome too, Lindsay said. So I've not really used Wakelet much, so you'll have to tell us more about that one, Lindsay. But a lot of Google Keep interest here. Cleaning up mine now, Nicole says, or somebody said cleaning up mine now, Facebook user. I don't see the icons in Google Calendar. So hold on, let me put this up so that you can show them where that is.
Okay. Yeah, and they're going to be they should be anyway, on the right sidebar. So you can add options as well. So you can get add-ons, because Google has tons of extensions. But I just stick with the tried and true they have available for everyone without having to add it. So you have Google Keep. You should notice tasks on the side. You should see contacts, and then maps. I don't know why you might need to use maps with your calendar, but maybe. maybe you're going somewhere. You need to use that. Okay, moving on.
Mine is there. So there's some of them are saying they don't see the icons to the right of the calendar. So I'm not sure how to show those if they're not showing for you. But I can look around a little while you're working on it.
Okay. So while you're kind of looking around, and it could be that you need to use your school account. And it also, but tasks should be available, and so should Google Keep. Now, Google is continuously refreshing things, so be sure you are updated to their newest views, because they will change the layout every now and then.
Yeah, it's in my personal one. That's not my school account.
Okay.
So I'm not sure.
Okay. So let me tell you about, so now that we're looking at,
maybe you add it as an add-on.
Maybe.
Okay. Anyway, sorry. Keep going. We'll have to figure out the troubleshooting.
Yeah, it's okay. So this is the calendar view, and I have it to where I'm not showing all of the things that are on the left side necessarily, because I don't necessarily need to see those, but I want to keep our attention to the right side and what is right here to view. So you have Google Keep, but you also have Google Tasks. Now, Google Tasks is like your to-do list. And what's great about it is it's like that. You know how you have that running to-do list on a sticky note here and a sticky note there and a sticky note everywhere? This allows you to think about those things and decide what is priority. And if you add a task, like I have plan upcoming faculty meeting, you can integrate that with your calendar. So you can include details for this. So be sure to cover policies. You can also include a date and a time. So let's say I wanted to remind myself of this. I have to get it done by tomorrow at no later than 2:30 p.m. So I want to be sure that it gets done by that time. When I click OK, it should show up right here on my calendar. So it's just a task that pops up, and it's going to remind me, hey, you have to get this done. And then once I get it done, you can delete it. So you can open menu and delete it. But I like to check it off, because then on your calendar, it'll cross it out for you. I just love to see
it. So satisfying.
Yes, cross it out. I'm done with it. Today, I actually, because of Google Tasks, I got something done ahead of time that was due tomorrow, and I just felt so good.
Yes.
But look at how cool this is. So I have leadership team meeting, and I've got subtasks underneath it. So you can create subtasks underneath if you need to have additional things underneath one category. So just really cool. Love it so much.
Okay, so are you going to show them how to set up a meeting request, a appointment slot?
Yes. Okay. Yes. So here we go. Are you ready?
You're going to use this. Okay, so everyone pay attention. Come back. Come back. Come back. You're going to want to use this.
Okay. So here we go. I am just going to pretend that I am starting today as Monday, and we have a leadership team meeting, and I've already got a calendar event set up for that. And when I click on that, you'll notice that it pops up leadership team meeting. It happens every Monday, and you'll see this place right here where it says notes, right? That's because I decided when I created this meeting that I wanted to take meeting notes. But let me show you what that looks like to get started. So I'm going to click to create an event, and maybe this is going to be coaching with Allison. Okay. You can find a time. You can add all of these locations. You can add guests. I'm not going to really do any of that. I'm just going to click save. When I click on that, you'll see here where it says take meeting notes. Okay. I do want to take meeting notes because I know what Allison has to say is really important. So Allison, I'm going to click take meeting notes. Here we go. Oh, you know what? I have to stop sharing my screen.
No, it worked. We can see that you did it, but does it automatically open the Google Doc? Oh, okay.
It does.
Okay. So it'll automatically open a Google Doc that says like the name of the meeting and the date and everything in it.
Yes.
And you can just take notes from there. And then you also, if you put the teacher on there too. Like if she had invited me to this meeting, I would also get a copy of the meeting notes if you want me to get them. So it's really handy. It's really handy.
Really handy. And I'm going to show you what that looks like in a little bit. But I do want you to notice, like, I just want to mention a couple of other things with the calendar too. And like I said, guys, like we can go like here and there and over here and then here. And I'm just all over the place with all of these amazing Google tools because that's how they function. They function as an integrated system, which is amazing and also can be a little bit overwhelming. So don't let it get you overwhelmed, but instead start thinking, okay, what is just one or two things? What are one or two things that I can use that will impact my coaching as we get started with the year? So let me tell you a little bit more about calendar and how to set that up and to make it really functional for yourself. I want to share two things, and then we want to move into Google Docs because that's where your meeting notes are going to be housed. So I've got all of these different colors, and for me, the colors mean something, but only I know what those colors mean. Purple for me is one campus. It's like a primary campus. Green is another campus. It's my elementary campus. My blue is just like regular meetings, my office things. So things that are happening in the office. And then this color, this peachy color, is my time blocking calendar. I have to time block. Otherwise, I get into those moments where I sit in my chair and I start twiddling my thumbs like, okay, well, nobody needs me. So what do I do? You know, and you have those moments. So I like to think about time blocking so that I can have a really intentional purpose for my time. And you may find that you have more of those thumb twiddling moments in the beginning of your coaching career, especially if you are at a new campus. But as time goes on, let me tell you what, you are going to find your schedule filling up and filling up and filling up until eventually you're at a moment in time where you're thinking, how did I ever complain about not knowing what to do or when to do it? Because you'll have all of the things to do.
Well, and if you have the choice too, while you're talking about this time blocking thing, to figure out when you're going to get some things done, I do need to sit behind my desk and I need to get some things done. You want to time block when you know the teachers are teaching. Like, I know that seems like logical, but it's easy to use another time when that might feel better for you. But like when the doors close and the students are in and the teachers are teaching like right at 8 a.m., that's usually my minute where I actually can go back to my desk.
Yeah.
And so that's where I time block something that I know I can get done. And then by 10 o'clock, their specials are starting and I can go out and see them again and I can have those relational touch points. So trying to think about your calendar in those windows of teachers are busy, teachers are teaching, or teachers are available. And then of course there is times where you'll put on your calendar, like when you're actually going to get a chance to go to a classroom, that will be when teachers are teaching. But until that starts up and running, think about your busy times and free times when the teachers are busy and when the teachers are free.
Yes.
Okay, with this one, do you ever cancel or change that time blocking hour in order to serve or help a teacher? Or are you really strict about keeping it? Teacher priority. Always, usually. Casey, would you agree?
Sorry, wait, one more time.
If you time block something, but then a teacher needed you to meet with them, you wouldn't hold to your time blocking, would you?
Oh yeah, no, definitely not.
It's more of an organizational tool for you to be like, okay, this looks like a minute where I might be able to sit down and get this done. I'm going to go ahead and lock this out on my calendar. But if you ended up catching a teacher in the hallway and she, wanted to meet about something, then obviously that would be priority.
Yeah. Okay.
And then how do you allow teachers to schedule with you? Let's that one back up.
Yeah.
We didn't go through that one.
Sorry, I was trying to figure out if I could adjust the way my screen was working, but it's not letting me. So you will notice that there is a section right here. It says catch up with Case. It's supposed to say catch up with Casey. Maybe if I expanded that a little bit. There we go. There is an option for you to create time slots in Google. And I will be very honest with you, teachers do not utilize this very much with me because because you're taking on an organic approach and You have to remember that your teacher's mindset is not on, when am I going to set aside time with Casey to have some coaching conversations? You're thinking about that as the coach. Their mind is somewhere else. So I have this option up in the case that a teacher, and I had this happen with the principal actually today. She said, I want to start a coaching cycle with you to really focus on the SIOP model. I said, great. Take a look at my calendar. There are some options there for you to put your name in a slot, and we can have a goal setting conference. And so she was able to utilize this because she's intentionally seeking out a coaching cycle. But you can also provide this on like any of the information that you give out to teachers, or you can include a link in your signature for your emails that you send out. But here's how it works. So you create an event just like you would, and it's just like, I'm just going to put coaching conversations. And instead of choosing any of one of these, you're going to click on appointment schedule. And then you can add slots for them to sign up for. And it gives you some different options to add it, to create a new appointment schedule or add availability to an existing schedule. I'm just going to create new appointment schedule. When you do that, can you see that on the side?
Yeah.
When you do that, it's going to show like what times do you want to show that you are available. I'm just going to keep Friday 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. You can allow them to schedule within a certain time frame. You can allow them to change a date's availability, change the color, whatever you would like. You can customize it however you would like. Next. And once you click next, I think this is a really important thing to note. If you are creating time slots for teachers to sign up, you need to be sure that in the description, you give them some thinking prompts so that they know what to do when they sign up or why they're signing up. So what I like to do in this ad description is just say like, so excited to meet with you in the space below. So in the description, be sure to share what's on your mind. Whatever it is that you want it to be, you can attach a link for them to go to something. You should, most of the time maybe there's not a way to attach a document, but you can include a link to a document. So you can create any kind of template you would like within the description, and that will allow them when they click on the appointments to have a little bit of direction as to what they need to be thinking about or how they want to interact with you.
Yeah. You know what you are using an updated version. I just pulled mine up and yours looks way fancier than mine. Really? Mine just says appointment slots and it gives you the time and then how many like minutes you want the appointment slot to be for.
Yeah.
And that's it. So yours has like some fancier features. So if you are trying to click through this, look for appointment slots or what Casey just showed you. And it can maybe depending on your Google rollout right now, because I know Google is rolling out some new things. They just released a new Gmail.
Yes.
Which I'm liking so far.
Yeah.
Okay. So a couple of questions. If you share your calendar with your admin, will they also be able to see those notes that are attached to the event?
No is the answer.
Because it's private, like it's not shared with them as a Google Doc, right?
No, it's not. Now, you do have the option to share, and they can request access, which has happened to me in the past. I have had an administrator request access to a document, and that opened up an opportunity for a good conversation between us, a crucial conversation. I do not want you to think that it was like an easy conversation, but it was a great place for me to help them understand more about my role because they didn't really understand my role.
Yeah.
So just know that yes, that can happen.
Yeah. Okay. Elizabeth says Friday is usually a good day for time blocking. A challenge today. The bells are ringing for transition and duties in the hallways. Every time you sit down, you got back up. So yes, you're going to be very busy. Somebody says I set up a Calendly for teachers to schedule time and already sent it out today and got somebody to sign up. So this really can, this can work as a tool to get them to sign up. Your organic touch points can lead them to that too.
Yes.
Just in person, you say, I would love to meet with you about that. If you want to go to the last email I sent you and look in my signature or something silly like that and say, hey, just go sign up with me. My calendar's available. I always like to just grab the time from them right then verbally. How about, tomorrow at 2:00? Yep. And then I go back to my desk and I send the Google invite. And so they get it. Teachers don't really live off of a calendar the way we do. And so it's not so important to them to have it on their calendar. Whereas for me, it's important. And I like to be able to tell them, you're on my calendar today. I can't wait to see you later. It's important for them to know, like, they have a spot on the calendar.
Yeah.
Do you get notified if you choose a slot? Yes, you get an automatic email sent to you, and it will actually have in it, if you ever are making these for virtual meetings, it will have in it a Google Meet link, and it'll tell you like who signed up and for the time. So you get an email notifying you, and they get an email inviting them to the event. So those are good. Okay, so we're close on an hour, so we want to get you over to Google Docs because we're going to try and wrap up maybe in the next 15 or so minutes. And if you have questions, Q&A, go ahead and drop some of those down for us so that we can answer them for you in the next few minutes. You're getting your Google Doc set up. Okay, so I know we've talked about a lot and we still have more to show you because you really don't go anywhere. Okay, you're going to want this Google stuff, like the Google Doc stuff. When Casey shows you this, if you didn't know this existed, which I didn't know it existed before she showed me, she blew my mind. And all it is a little @ symbol in your Google Docs and boom, your mind gets blown. So stay for a minute if you're not familiar with that. In the meantime, tell us what is most useful for you right now and what is we've already shown you a lot of things. So what do you want to be a good takeaway for you from this as you're going to try and move into some tracking and make some mental notes about the things you want to keep and go forward with maybe in your Google Keep. Okay, so does this type of scheduling mean the entire teaching staff has access to your calendar? No. Okay, so that's the beauty of this thing. So basically what it does is it creates this separate calendar that you send people to that is only slots for them to select. All they can see is empty slots. And then they click it and they choose, and that's it. So they can't see anything else on your calendar. They can't see anything. So it's actually kind of a private place where they can only see your kind of open times. So it is super safe in regard to you're not giving everyone access to your full calendar. Absolutely. Right. Okay. What else? You want to put this up? Are you ready?
Yeah, I'm ready. So I had some other things. I wish so Allison, it's saying my some sort of system preferences anyway. So I can't click in between stuff really easily, but that's okay because for this last little bit of time, I want to show you Google Smart Chips. Okay.
What?
Yeah. What?
I'm so excited.
Again, hashtag smart chips.
Go ahead and put that mind blown emoji ready.
This is one of my very favorite features of Google Docs. Now, so remember, when you decide to take meeting notes on your calendar, it will direct you immediately to a Google Doc. And this is what it's going to look like. Okay. So you're going to see me have a blank Google Doc, but when you are directed to that, you'll have your meeting notes and you can take them and it'll say notes and action steps, and you can create action steps. But let's say you want to continue with that same Google Doc and you want to include some really unique things in this document to your coaching and to the people that you're working with. A smart chip is basically Google's way of creating shortcuts, okay? And let me just click off of this. So these shortcuts provide multiple options that are going to blow your mind, okay? So all you're going to do is click the @ symbol, and you'll notice that all of these different things pop up immediately, okay? There are so many things, and I'm just going to take you through a few of these things. But let's say that I wanted to create meeting notes. I'm just going to click on meeting notes. Oh, look what pops up. all of these different meetings that I have scheduled on my calendar. So it's basically your calendar pops up. And let's say I wanted to take some notes on my coaching with Allison meeting. Boom.
Pops right in there.
Pops
And it's
right
linked
in
to
there.
the calendar event. Oh
It's
my goodness. Amazing.
I love it so much.
And I mean, it's not the fanciest template because part of me is like, oh, I want to play with this, but hey, it's linked. It's got my details in it. And then I can put more bullet point notes in there.
Yep.
And you can, so just one @ symbol, and now you've got your notes linked to a calendar document. So kind of, you can do it either way, from the calendar invite to Google Docs, or starting Google Docs, it'll link it back to the calendar invite.
Yes.
What?
Yes. Okay. And there's something.
You got some good responses.
So something important to note here too is, like, when other people create an event, you cannot take meeting notes on their calendar event. So that means that you're going to create your own notes in a Google Doc. And this is one way to do it, and attach it to your own meeting. So you'll notice right here, it says attach meeting notes. You can attach or you can dismiss it. I'm just going to say, don't show this again. So here beside attendees, I could choose certain people that are going to attend. So maybe Jane Doe at mickeymouse.com is going to attend this meeting with me and Allison. So I'm going to click on Jane, and it does not immediately send her this document. Okay. It just shows that she was an attendee there. So just know that you have to give people permission in order to have this document. Otherwise, it is privately yours. Okay.
Yeah. And you can tag people in it, and they can't see it until you give permission. Yeah.
Exactly. Okay. So you have your notes, blah, 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 blah. You have action items that you want to focus on. Oh, but guess what? With these action items, I want to create some tasks for that because I want to remember it. So I'm just going to click on the right sidebar, and I'm going to add a task, and my task was this. Okay. And maybe I want to create a date and time to remember that, and I can do that on my tasks. Okay.
So cool.
So let me show you some other smart chips.
Another @ symbol.
Your @ symbol. Okay. I want to show you that you can go to like a calendar event. So if you scroll down a little bit, you can see like all of these different things. You see people, you see building blocks, which we're going to come back to in a little bit. You see files that you can attach. You see some different formatting things like bulleting, media that you can attach, then dates. Okay, so this is really handy because you can include today's date, tomorrow's date, a specific date that you want to include, headings, and then there are the actual calendar events that you saw show up when you typed meeting notes. And so I could include those, and it'll do the same thing. You click on it and notice that it says tab to insert meeting notes. Tab, and it's all right there. Okay.
What? So cool.
Okay. So now let me show you one of my favorite features. Oh my gosh, I love this feature. And it is an email draft. So let's say that I have one document that I'm keeping some notes on a particular teacher. So in the past, I have actually had a document, like a Google Doc, for each individual teacher that I work with. And I house all of my different notes, our coaching cycles, things that we've discussed. Because of that, this is a great place to include an email draft, because when you click email draft, it's going to allow you to look at all of your other notes that you have inside this and use that to craft your email. And I want to include Jill John in this. I'm not going to
write it like an email right there in your Google Doc, drafting, so no one can see it. I mean, how many times have you wished you could like rewrite an email 100 times, right? So
yes.
And so, then, oh my gosh, the magic.
And it is magical. I feel like I'm like at Disney World. So you write your email message, whatever you want it to be, and you include your there's not a way to include any additional details, I don't think, but
I think when you take it over to Gmail, you could like add an attachment or something, right?
Yes. So when you click on that icon, it says preview in Gmail.
One button.
It takes you directly over, and it transfers all of your information from this email draft.
Yeah. If you guys are a Google school, you're going to love this.
Yes.
Because you can draft your emails in Google Docs and then push one button and it opens an email in Gmail, and then you can continue to, edit it if you need to, and boom. I used this week actually because we were going to send an email to teachers about some things they needed to know, just like some beginning of the year things. And my principal and I were talking through what those things would be. Yeah. So I started one of these and I just started drafting the email instead of like drafting it in Gmail. I put it here, and so I could share it with her, and so she could add to it and I could add to it. So it was phenomenal. It was just so cool. I mean, you could share an email draft. I know it seems like but I feel like it was amazing. So
I should have used that. I should have thought about that today. I did, I just physically handed my computer to someone to preview an email before sending it. I could have done this.
I could have shared it. Okay, you got to show us the product roadmap.
Okay. So
we're gonna have to wrap up. So
we're gonna have to wrap up. But here's the great thing. I'm going to make this next piece of this document available to you guys. So Allison's gonna have it ready for you to copy and make a template, because
that'll be on this Padlet. So yes, we'll definitely make sure that's available for you and post it for you.
Okay, so here is what you're gonna. So let me just delete all of this. So this will back up. So I want to tell you a little bit about coaching cycle documentation, because there is a way to do that in Google with your Google Smart Chips. So what I have posted is here's the Google Smart Chip, and it's called Launch Content Tracker. So if I was to click the app symbol, and you can start typing it in launch, and it's going to pull up Launch Content Tracker. Well, when you click on that, it immediately shows up as this table template. So it's just a template for you. But, this template doesn't really work for coaching. So what I've done is created a coaching version for you, because it is completely editable. So this coaching version is teacher, the date, the topic that we discussed. Was there a cycle initiated? Yes or no? What are my next steps? Or what are the next steps for the teacher? You can, like I said, edit this to make it fit your needs and what you feel like you need as a content or as a documentation table. Yeah. There is also
add rows.
Yes.
You can move things around. You can change those yes or no's. You can change this to say something different. You can pick different colors. You can have all these different drop downs. And it's just like this little mini template that you add to your Google Doc. You can do anything with it.
Yes.
And so I've used it several times now. Okay, show us what else you have under there.
Okay, so another smart chip is a product roadmap. So when you click the @ symbol, product roadmap will show up as one of the options. And this is what it looks like in Google. But a coaching version could be I want to choose a date. And maybe this could be you have one of these for each teacher. And you know what I'm saying? So you would have one of these tables for each teacher. You choose the date. What was the support option? And I have recreated this.
Cool.
So you have, planning, co-teaching, goal setting, data review, feedback observation, video reflection, other. And again, you can add or edit these options.
Cool.
And then I just wrote down what is our targeted goal and what are the notes that I have based on our coaching meeting today. Okay.
So great.
Here's another one, and it is the review. Smart Chip is review tracker. So this is what pulls up when you choose that template. The coaching version could look like this. You have the teacher name, coaching cycle status, not in a cycle. Let me just pull these up. Not in a cycle. We had some coaching conversations. They're showing interest, or we're in a coaching cycle.
Cool.
And then you can have notes beside that. Yeah. And then another Google Smart Chip is project assets. And this is what it looks like in Google as the template. Your coaching version could be, here was the date of coaching for a specific teacher, one table per teacher. Here's the description of what we did. Here is our status. Oh, I meant to change status to something else, but here was our focus, like classroom management, small group instruction, so on and so forth. And the list goes on.
Oh, so cool.
Yeah, I love it. So those are the different table templates that will show up in your Smart Chips, and just some ideas of ways that you can make it unique to coaching.
Yeah. And I think too, somebody last week was talking about making sure you don't miss a teacher. And I think that is so key. Making sure you don't miss a teacher, making sure you don't touch base with one. And
Right.
so I want to use this. I haven't set it up yet, but I want to use this to make a list of all my teachers and use the drop down menus to think about, like, have I had a genuine touch point with them, or can I have another one, like, ready
Right.
for the next one?
Yeah.
So that can help me, like, really track, like, there are some who I've not touched base with, like,
Yeah.
what, and like, maybe I can just have something like casual conversation versus coaching conversation. Like, how can I make sure they're all kind of getting that touch point?
Yes.
So I think it's another great tool to use to track that you are getting touch points with as many teachers as you can, and then find the gaps of the ones who are being just not left behind, but because you're so, you've got so many to talk to, how can you make sure you don't miss any? So,
Right.
okay, we've got some great conversation questions here. Just for clarification, the Smart Chip Google Docs could be added to the Keep section under the teacher label. Can you push a doc back to a Keep? I don't know if you can.
I don't
You
know. I
can link
don't know
it.
if you can.
You can, like, you could
Yeah.
link it. So, it might not work perfectly for this, but
I don't
you
know that. I don't know
can.
that you can do that. But I will tell you one thing you can do, like under your notes. So if I was going to use this kind of like for what Allison's saying she wants to do, which is similar to what's here, but you can, even inside your table, you
Yep.
can choose these different options. So I could choose to include my notes from my Jill John conversation and say we've had some coaching conversations.
Yeah.
So
Kendra, I was thinking that we're showing you a whole bunch of stuff. So know that this is available for you on replay. So when it's time for you to get to this point, you can come back and watch this again. Don't be overwhelmed. Pick one tool that you want to check out and explore it a little bit. Just what I'm looking for. Fabulous. Hi, I'm late. You're never late because there's always replay. We're so glad you're here. Could you use this tracking for a team of coaches that work with the same teachers? I mean, how perfect would that be? Share
yes.
it and use the drop downs and create a system. Yes, Denise, that sounds amazing. You've got time because you said you're not until Labor Day to figure that out and get it out to your team. So thanks for sharing all of this. I got my time zones mixed up. Oh, wait, you were watching The Bachelorette, and I'm sure that was really good. Okay, in this document with the bare bones of what teachers are, something you would share with admin to report back. Depending on what you put in the document in terms of your depth of touch point, this would be a great thing to share with admin, especially if it's like what Casey was just showing. Casey, show the one again where it was like what you talked about with them. This one? Yes, like if your drop downs were things like we talked about small group instruction, mini lesson, like if it helps the admin to quickly get a glance of what you're working on with teachers without it being, full on, like this is everything that's going on. I think an admin would prefer that type of a view. Your admin is way too busy to get the details. Like she doesn't want them. And the only reason she's going to want them is when she has to go evaluate a teacher. So she doesn't want them. So a high level view like this as a tracking tool to share with your admin. And if you set it up just kind of the way that would make the most sense for you to show what you've been focused on, I think it'd be fabulous. Oh, hey, Sam. I couldn't tell. Okay, you can also use your Coach's Corner platforms for this. So Sam is here to share that. So drop your Coach's Corner, Sam, so that they can see that. There are tons of great tools in that. It's a free online program that Sam, who is an instructional coach, actually designed for coaches, built by a coach for coaches. So check that out. We just have explored and found some cool tools in Google that we knew it might be a good entry point that won't be, hopefully not too overwhelming in terms of where you could start with some of this. And one of the things we've been talking about with relationship building and trust building is how do you track those organic conversations and how do you do it on the fly? How do you create a model where you can be quickly adding these things to, so you remember them? And I think Google Keep, Google Calendar, and Google Docs have been fabulous tools for that work. So